It's still Daytona 500 week. We think there's a chance of rain in the weekend, but there's more news in the NASCAR world that we are going to talk about today. Yesterday, we talked about some sponsors in the Xfinity Series with Shane Van Gisbergen, and we talked about the Daytona 500 entry list. I did my full season preview and predictions 2 days ago. We got a NASCAR Fantasy League for anyone who wants to join, so feel free to join that. I put the link in every description of every recent video, put it in the community post. But today we've got more news. Some of it sponsor news, some of it about the Rookie of the Year battle. That is now official. We know who is going to be battling for that Rookie of the Year spot. Legacy Motor Club has a new random sponsor that my hat gives a hint to. And then we've got Greg Biffle. He released a statement. He will not be in the Daytona 500. We will get to all of that. And then, of course, Days of Thunder. Will there be a sequel? So, yes, let's start off with some of the small stuff. 3Chi has returned to the number 8 car. They will sponsor Kyle Busch once again in 2024. There were some questions in the offseason if they would return or not, and ultimately they will return to RCR Racing and Kyle Busch. They were a good chunk of his primaries last year. They were at Richard Childress Racing before Kyle Busch was there. They were with Tyler Reddick. And once again, they're going to stay on the 8 car, but no number of races was announced, so we do not know how many races that car or the 3Chi will sponsor. Next up, it's the Rookie of the Year battle. We talked about it a bit in my preseason preview and predictions video. I said we're going to have an actual Rookie of the Year battle this year. We've got 2 Spire drivers and Josh Berry. That was who I could think of as, for sure they're going to be rookies. But NASCAR has confirmed the Rookie of the Year battle. It's going to be the 3 guys I just mentioned, Josh Berry in the number 4 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford, Zane Smith in the number 71 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet, and then Carson Hocevar in the number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. Those guys are confirmed. And then the 4th one is Kaz Grala, who will be in the number 15 Rick Ware Racing Ford. But remember, he is not going to be running every race with Rick Ware Racing. He's only going to be running 25, and then he has a 26th race added onto his schedule with the Daytona 500. He will be in the 3rd Front Row Motorsports car. So I would expect it to be the first 3 guys I mentioned fighting for that Rookie of the Year title, I guess. Is that what it's called? Title? Award. Award is the better word. Those are the 3 guys who will be most competitive with it. No disrespect to Kaz Grala, but, Rick Ware Racing is not quite to the level of Spire and Stewart-Haas Racing. And then also he is not going to be running the full schedule as of now. That could change if he picks up some, part-time car in the, 12 races that he's not in. So we'll see what ultimately ends up happening with that Rookie of the Year battle, but it should be a fun one. Last year, it was a blowout. It was over before it even started, basically. And now we have a real Rookie of the Year battle, so it should be fun to watch between those 4 guys. Now on to the next one. We talked about Legacy Motor Club and how there was a very random bit of news with them joining Extreme E. Well, get ready for another random bit of news from Legacy Motor Club. Creed, the band, will be an associate sponsor at Legacy Motor Club. They're on the side of the number 84 in the Daytona 500. Here's a picture. Here it is all zoomed in. There's the Creed logo. They're promoting their upcoming tour. Of course, I said that, this hat was a hint because they were like the spiritual leader of the Texas Rangers when they won the World Series last year. But yeah, Creed's going to be on the side of the car. It's very random. Once again, Legacy Motor Club has been killing it with these random news stories. Extreme E, Creed is an associate sponsor. Jimmy Johnson's in a Toyota. That's not really small and random, but it is random. I would take it back. It's random. But yeah, so there's more Legacy Motor Club news for you. Now, the next bit of news is a bit interesting from different perspectives or from multiple perspectives. Yesterday, the Daytona 500 entry list was released, and we saw that the number 44 car, NY Racing, was entered into the Daytona 500. We weren't sure if it was going to happen, but yes, it is happening. The number 44 will be in the Daytona 500. The driver was TBA. And, given the history, a lot of people speculated Greg Biffle might be in that car. And then a picture got released, or a video got released, of the hauler taking the car to Daytona, and Greg Biffle's name was on the car. Greg Biffle's name was on the hauler, and everyone's like, oh yeah, the Biff is back, baby. The Biff is not back, baby. Here's the statement that he released. It has come to my attention that images of a hauler and car with my name and signature on the side of it have been released. While I had hoped to be running in the 2024 Daytona 500 this year, that will not be happening. Due to unfulfilled contract obligations from 2022 for myself and the team, I have made a hard decision to not participate in any races until the prior contract obligations have been fulfilled. I wish the team all the best, and hopefully I will have the opportunity to race again and win this coveted race. And his signature's down there, Greg Biffle. So yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Contract, they had a contract together, and it seems that the team of NY Racing did not hold up their deal, whatever it was. My wild guess is money. That was not given to Greg Biffle, but that's just a guess. It's probably the best guess. I mean, it could be something else. They could have had, it could have been, oh, we want you to race in 10 races this year, and they only did 4. It could have been something like that. But, yeah, so it seems like Biffle and his former team have a little bit of a contract dispute, and that's why he's not going to be racing in the Daytona 500, which is why their driver's TBA. I'm curious to see who they get in that car. I really don't know who they're going to get in that car on short notice, but I guess we'll figure out. Now, next up, we're going to talk about cinema. Yes, we're going to talk about movies. I love movies. I watch them all the time. I told you guys before, I got my IMDb page. I've got my ratings because I think I'm smart. I got my favorite actors and actresses list. Movies, they're a cultural phenomenon. They do so much. You can go watch an action-adventure movie with some archaeologist going through the Middle East trying to find the Holy Grail. You can watch an action movie where, things blow up every 5 seconds and a car is jumping out of an airplane like in the Fast and Furious movies. Or you can watch a deep intellectual kind of character developing movie where you see the character go from someone who hates someone specifically. He hates them, and then he slowly gets warmer, becomes friends with such character. So there's a lot of different things that can happen in cinema and movies. I love movies. Well, there's a movie that could involve NASCAR. We've seen NASCAR involved in movies. Well, not NASCAR, the entity, but the topic of NASCAR in movies over the years. Talladega Nights, probably the most known NASCAR movie with Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. Very funny movie, but it does hit on all the NASCAR stereotypes, which rubs some NASCAR fans the wrong way. I'm not one of them because I find it hilarious and I love a good comedy movie, and some of it's a little true, which is funny, but not all of it. Not all of it is true. But then there are other NASCAR movies like Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder, much loved by the NASCAR community, a little bit more of an accurate depiction of NASCAR. Not 100% accurate, but I rewatched the movie this morning because it's been a while since I watched it, and they hit on some topics that are pretty accurate. They say you need sponsor money to be running in the car. They talk about the different types of tracks. They go to different types of tracks. They describe some small things with the race cars, like the handling of the race cars, how you can't abuse the tires as a driver. There's a lot of topics that they hit on. And this movie was made in 1990, starring Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall, and Nicole Kidman as well. And it's been a movie that's been, as I said, much loved by the NASCAR community. Jerry Bruckheimer was a producer, and there have been talks over the years, rumors, speculation, guesses, reports, whatever you want to say about this movie getting a sequel. Well, this is not a confirmation. This is a big if. It's an if, but there's been reports, as I said, that it could be in development. But NASCAR COO Steve O'Donnell made a comment on the movie if it were to happen. Let's read that. So it said, NASCAR is open to participating in a Days of Thunder sequel if the opportunity presents itself. COO Steve O'Donnell confirmed for the first time to Sports Business Journal's Adam Stern. But while O'Donnell confirmed that NASCAR would be interested, he didn't say whether a deal was actively being pursued. We'd love to see that, O'Donnell said. The more places we can expose NASCAR to with a broader audience, the better. With Netflix, when they're advertising us in the middle of Times Square right now, that's huge. And it shows what a great partner they already have been. So anytime you can expose the sport outside of a regular race weekend broadcast, it's big for us. Now, there's a lot of things to kind of process in this. Obviously, NASCAR said they'd be open to it, which is cool. That's big. And back when this movie was made, it was big for NASCAR. They helped him out. Rick Hendricks sponsored one of the cars, his City Chevrolet dealership. They actually went to real racetracks. I think they went to Phoenix, Rockingham. Did they actually go to Daytona? They went to quite a few racetracks, and they actually filmed at NASCAR racetracks. So they wanted to be a little bit more authentic than, just going and making some set or going to some close facility, making your own track, that kind of thing. They wanted to be a little bit more authentic with it. So they did that. They made that movie. Once again, people really like that movie, but the talks of a sequel, will it happen? As I said, you would probably see some returning characters, returning people that produced and made the first movie. As I said, Jerry Bruckheimer as a producer, Tom Cruise as probably the star. Tom Cruise is 61 now, so he probably wouldn't be the star of the movie. Robert Duvall is 93 now. I did not know he was that old, but he is 93 now. I don't know if he'd come back for it. And then the interesting thing here, it's going to tie, I'm going to mention like 5 different things, but it's all going to tie in here at the end. It's Joseph Kosinski. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I saying Joseph Kosinski? Who is that? Joseph Kosinski here's the first tie. He has worked with Tom Cruise before in the new Top Gun movie. Top Gun, also produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, by the way. So that's a third connection. So they're all interconnected together. That's 3 people, 3 really important people connected together. So Tom Cruise reuniting with Jerry Bruckheimer for A New Days of Thunder. This is once again a big if. And then you've got your director potentially in Joseph Kosinski. And then another tie is Joseph Kosinski right now is working on a new movie about racing. He's working on an untitled Formula One movie with Brad Pitt. Lewis Hamilton's a producer. So that's racing. He knows racing now. They're all tied together. By the way, don't forget, technically, if you round a lot, I know the movie hasn't been out yet, but I might have been an extra in that movie. So for any movie producers, if this Days of Thunder 2 thing happens, I can be an extra for you. Go to my playlist, go to Las Vegas Grand Prix, that topic, that playlist. Go to Las Vegas Grand Prix vlog, and somewhere in there you will see me screaming in the background for a movie, and I may or may not be in it, and if you need me, I'm here for you. But in all seriousness, would this movie happen? I don't know. I don't keep up with every bit of movie, film, Twitter and social media, reports, websites, all that. I don't keep up with all of it as much as I do with NASCAR. But the topic of Days of Thunder 2 did come up, and there's a lot of potential with this movie, I think. Once again, there's a lot of people who love this movie. There's a lot of people who enjoy it. There's a lot of people who love NASCAR. And with how good technology is nowadays, with all the access that you have, you can put cameras anywhere. You can make this thing happen. And another thing that's really big about it is that, once again, with the Formula One movie that I just mentioned, is that they've been really involved, and Formula One has been really open to letting them, have full access to whatever they want. As I said, at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, they had the stands full and they're recording everyone, screaming, yeah, woo. And they got people, oh my God, there's a crash. And, they've also let a car on track, a Formula One car actually driven by Brad Pitt on track during race weekends. Now, obviously not at the same time as a race. It's dangerous and potentially deadly. But, so you can have the crowd in the background. You can actually see Brad Pitt in the car. You can actually see the livery, the paint scheme of the car going by to make it look more authentic. And that is something that they have really, hammered down hard, is that they want that Formula One movie to be authentic. So if NASCAR is involved with it, if you get the right people involved with it on the Hollywood side of things, I do think you could potentially make a very authentic NASCAR movie, a modern authentic NASCAR movie, because you have all the technology, all the cameras and stuff. If NASCAR is involved, and as Steve O'Donnell said, he would be open to it. They would love to see this kind of thing happen. That would be great. I think it'd be cool. You could put, the car on track, an hour before the race or something. I don't know. You could do it before the Xfinity race, right after a race, something like that. There's a lot of potential with this movie. And also there's a lot of potential with the storylines. You can make Tom Cruise a team owner now. You could put him back in the car or something. He wants one last victory triumph, something like that. There's a lot of potentials. Do you want my ideas? I'm not going to give you a lot. There's some people I would like to see in this movie. Obviously you want to get a big name actor. You got Tom Cruise, yes, but could you get Robert Duvall back? Could you get Nicole Kidman back? Could you get some of the stars of that movie back into the Days of Thunder world? Could you go after some new people? Obviously, you're going to need new people. If you want to do a young driver lineup, which young actors could you get? Who would I want to see in this movie? I mean, I have a lot of favorite actors, actresses. This is finally an excuse for me to say get Emilia Clarke in a NASCAR movie, because honestly, she could play Batman and be the right choice. But seriously, I mean, as I said, if you want to get a big name, Christian Bale's another great name. If you could somehow get him in, he's been in a racing movie before. He's been in Ford versus Ferrari. Once again, I don't know if he'd do it. It'd be cool to see Christian Bale in a NASCAR movie, though. He's 50. He could be an older driver or something. That'd be cool. There's other actors who have been in racing movies. If you want to get them back in a race car, Chris Hemsworth did the Rush movie about Niki Lauda and James Hunt's rivalry. Get him in a race car. You could do him as a NASCAR driver. Adam Driver's been in multiple racing movies. He was Enzo Ferrari in a Ferrari movie. He played in a character in that Logan Lucky movie, which was about NASCAR back in, 2017, 2018. But that was more of a heist movie at a NASCAR race. So there's a wide variety of things you could do. The sky's the limit, as they say. You could go get whoever you wanted, probably within budget. Obviously, you can't ever get every single star in this movie, but it would be cool to see Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall come back. I don't know if Robert Duvall's retired officially, but give him a cameo or something. But it would be cool to see some of these characters come back, to see this type of movie come back, a modern twist on Days of Thunder, to see how that would turn out. And then also, get the drivers involved, get the teams involved as well. That would be another big thing, because think about it. If you could get driver cameos, that would help appeal to the NASCAR side of things. I remember when that Logan Lucky movie came out, they were saying, oh, there's going to be a lot of NASCAR drivers making cameos in this movie. I was like, cool, let's see it. I love it. I like Adam Driver. He's a cool actor. He's good and stuff, but I want to see NASCAR drivers in a movie too. But if you could do that, and if you could make it a more serious NASCAR movie, respectfully, Talladega Nights was funny and all, but I'd love to see a serious NASCAR movie, an in-depth NASCAR movie. So to have, you don't want to see Dale Jr. going and asking for Ricky Bobby's autograph, but, if you get Tom Cruise, if he's driving the car again, him and Kyle Larson, him and Chase Elliott, him and Ryan Blaney, him and Bubba Wallace, whoever it may be, walking to the grid together, having a short little conversation, then at the end, hey, good luck, man, something like that, then that could make for, that'd be a nice cameo. It'd be short, it'd be sweet. It would work well. It would appeal to the NASCAR fans. So I think there's a lot of potential with this movie idea, but we've talked about it long enough. But once again, it's a big if. It's a big if. I talked about it for so long, it may not even happen, but there's been so many rumors, reports, speculation over the years that Tom Cruise, Jerry Bruckheimer getting back together for a Days of Thunder sequel. And so we'll see what ends up happening with that movie, if it eventually happens, who they get in that movie, which actors, things like that, what kind of story it would be. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. More NASCAR, speaking of, coming up this week. Tomorrow we got Daytona 500 qualifying. Thursday we got the duels. Friday the truck. Saturday Xfinity. Sunday maybe the Cup Series if it doesn't rain. But thank you again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to join the NASCAR Fantasy League, and I will see you guys in the next video.